Alright, so you're going to have to excuse the noise because my grandmother-in-law is vacuuming. I'm going to start trying to take a few of these apart here. So I've actually listened to this one, and knock on freezer, it's going well so far. Fingers crossed. Again, excuse the phone camera, but we managed to get all of these side cover bolts out. Now it just popped right off. Oh wow, okay. So, this is the water jacket, which we can see has seen some action here. Yeah, oh yeah. There's a chunk of something rubber in here. Maybe an impeller blade or a piece of. I don't know. Weird. And this is our exhaust baffle plate. Which sometimes these like to have a hole wear through them. There is some good corrosion on there, but nothing a little bit of cleaning can't fix. I don't know how the hell to get this thing off here. I don't want to try prying here, but... Okay, so now I have the baffle plate off, which is this guy here. There is a little bit of pitting on it, but it's not too bad. There's a little bit of pitting on it right there, along here. But we'll have to see when we get it cleaned up. This side's not bad at all. Yeah. So this is the water jacket side, and this guy here closes in the internal water jacket here. So apparently when these things go bad, that it eats a hole in this thing here. So I'm not certain if this passage here has anything to do with the inside of the crankcase. In fact, I don't think it actually does. It separates these two passages here by the look of it, and this is the hole that goes between them. Okay, so over on the intake side, here's cylinder 1 and 2. And we're going to skip over the good one and 4, and they all look normal. But number 3 has had some physical damage. Something actually got hit. You can see a big scar there. You can see a little scarring right there. You can see a big chunk missing right there. So, if I feel my finger in there, I'm cautiously optimistic because the edge doesn't feel damaged. I can see that there's a piece of damage right there, like it's been... it might just be the casting, actually, come to think of it. Right there, and right there. There's a little nick right there. But actually, all 4 of these have a nick of some sort, so that's probably okay. But yeah, we can see that there is physical damage to this thing. And that top ring is dark, like it's been jammed in there. Oh yeah, look at that. So right there, you can see how the ring is caught. That is probably the cause of our compression loss. So let's hope that wall is okay. Because the problem is, where we can see from the other side, we can't really see too well. Well, this actually isn't a cylinder head. This cover here is a... That's way too big. It's just a water jacket cover. The head itself is actually cast into the block. These are 7/16 heads, which means that these are 1/4 20. So now, it actually appears that none of these are blind. Oh, and we just broke one. Damn it. Well, at least there's a nut on the other end, and we know what that is. So I think it's time to put a little panther pee on some of these. Well, that bites. Seems like these have lived a bit of a hard life. Again, because this is a very common bolt size, I'm not super worried. Oh, here we go. Once we break that gasket surface, I'm going to try and slip the screwdriver around it, just so we can keep the gasket off the plate, because it's easier to clean the plate than it is the block. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, it's actually not too bad, all things considered. It's a little schmutzy. This doesn't have any small cooling passages in it. After 48 years, this gasket's coming off in pieces. No secret. Oh boy. So here's the inside of the block, and again, all things considered, it actually isn't that bad. This has never been a saltwater motor. I've had it in brackish plenty of times, but only in recent years. So the fact that it's only really been in fresh water is definitely advantageous when taking this thing apart. Interesting. There's a cooling passage in behind here. Oh, I see. This comes around to the bottom here. So actually this is where the inlet is. So there we go. I can see, just barely see the inside of the wall here. Well, hello everyone. It is end of day Sunday, and unfortunately I didn't get a lot of work done on the Merc. We're still coming to you from my phone because stupid me keeps forgetting my bloody cameras. But I did install this workbench. I found an old decrepit one and I turned it into this guy, which gives me tons more storage space and a place to work on this. Now I will be putting down a plastic sheet on top of this when it comes to rebuilding it, so no dust from the wood can kick up and get into it. At this point we don't care too much, but now I do have the right socket, so we're going to remove the flywheel. Now just for reference, this is a 15/16 socket. I'm using an impact. There she goes. That's it. That's all. Cannot lose that special nut and washer. That is very important. Okay, so socket is the same size, which in this case is 15/16. It's like 24 millimeters or something. This is a metric bolt. So one thing that's very important is this little guy right here. This is a piece of hardened steel, and this goes in first. I don't know, I think we can just, yeah, we can just drop her right down into the puller tool, and we want this little divot facing up. Screw it in till it bottoms out, just like that. I think that's how the divot needs to go. Now I don't really want to use an impact on this. We'll still use the same impact socket though. Well, we may need an impact actually. Because this guy is not offering much in the way of resistance here. flywheel is off. And we'll just quickly zip this bolt out. Oh wow, that stayed in the end of the crank. Okay. I don't believe this thing needs the stator to run the ignition. I believe the ignition in these old Thunderbolts is self-contained within the ignition mod, or within the actual distributor housing. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna snap a quick picture here. Right here on the back of the motor is where the stator wires come out. That will go to the rectifier. There we are. I don't know. I'm hoping these look okay. We'll test our stator and probably test the rectifier at the same time. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to remove the two end bolts here on the crankcase that holds the bearing retainer in. And my money is on the 9/16 head, but it is not. Of course, it is a 1/2 inch head, approximately. Just gonna go for the big boy here. We need to remove the two bolts that hold it into the front half of the crankcase. There's one that holds it into the back. So we need to take the case cover off, this guy here, before we take the two ends off. According to the manual, and since that thing knows a little more than I do at this point in time, I'm going to trust it. So I don't see any through bolt on the back side of a couple of these. Okay, so there's a couple of recessed points. One right there. You can see her trying to come, but it's not really cooperating too much. I wonder if there's one on the top here. Go figure. Oh, something just popped. Sweet. Okay, well, it sort of popped. Oh, interesting. Oh, there we go. There's the crankcase cover. It's going to come off. Here we go. She ain't coming worth a damn now. Just gotta be very, very ginger with this thing. Mar up the gasket surface, and there she be. Wow. Okay. It's time to look for a little destruction here. Okay, so I've loosened the two back. I've loosened both bearings off, actually. I'm not quite sure how you get this thing out of here, but here we go. There's the bottom bearing and seal retainer. Not sure if you can hear that, but that bearing's in bad shape. It's very notchy. So there's one that's going to have to be replaced. I'm going to throw that down in my parts bin. And this guy, I do not see any damage. That's the bizarre thing right now. You know, and it may change once I get it off. Oh, there's the top one. Oh, it's not as bad. Still pretty gritty. We're going to be replacing both of these, clearly. It's only a single lip seal. I'm surprised it's only a single lip seal on that one. I think that this one is a double. No, maybe not. Yeah, it's only a single. I have no idea. I think it's double on the bottom, single on the top. Now for the main attraction. We're gonna yank the crank. Oh, here she goes. We got a winner. Oh my God. Holy, that will do it. Holy Christ. Look at that. Oh boy, there's a missing reed valve. Wow. Yeah, that'll do her. Well, in all fairness, there are some chunks of things in there, but that is in every cylinder because when I took the baffle plate cover off, some of the crud fell in there. There is like zilch carbon in all of these. I cannot believe that. Let's take a rag and we'll wipe this out. I cannot believe this. Holy Christ, look at that thing. Oh my God. No wonder she didn't want to run. Oh, good Lord. This piston ring is pinched because of the damage. But to be honest, I see a little scuffing on all of these. Just from general wear and tear, but I do not see, I see a little bit of damage to the port. Maybe that'll clean up with a bore job. I don't know. It'll have to go to the machine shop and we'll find that out. Let's take a look. Let's wipe this down. Wow, that will do it. I cannot believe that this thing isn't completely destroyed. So there is a little bit of a ding on that port right there, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Considering the fact that whatever went through here, pretty much, I do see a little bit of a lip on that one there too. So maybe that's just a trick of my eye. I have no idea, but this steel liner, I think this will clean up. It will clean up. Oh my God. Look at that. Uh-oh. Nope. I think we're done. So this is a bit of a chicken or the egg scenario. I'm not sure what happened first, but there's that nice groove right there. That's a very deep gouge. That's going to have to be bored and re-sleeved for sure, I'm thinking. I'm not too optimistic about that. Okay, so not sure if you can see here, but to focus the camera in, you can see we got a little grooving here. Nothing really too major. I did put a little lacquer thinner on this cloth. I have cleaned it up. This one actually looks worse than the other, but the grooving doesn't look too bad. I would be happy to call that normal wear and tear. Now we're working on this main ring, the next thing here. We do have the aluminum reed cage on this motor. I don't know what the difference is, but the guys at CCMS said that they need to know what type of reed cage we have, even though it is the same price. And this guy's coming apart, and all of my marker marks are going to get worn off because there's gasoline everywhere. There we go. There we go. So here is our outer or center main bearing. I've written up, it says O and T on it, and I'm guessing this one probably if I can get it off of here, we'll have the same O and T on it. Interesting. Okay, so all it says in the manual is to pry the damn thing off. So I guess that's what we're going to have to do. There we go. Oh, crud! There it goes again. So if I can get my screwdriver in down underneath. Oh, there goes the main bearings. Shite. Oh no. Okay. Let's not lose any of these. Okay, so the groove in this goes down. That's one thing we got to remember. Groove goes down. Okay, now we're going to very, very, very gingerly take all of those needles out. I don't know if these are left. Nope, they're not. My first concern is these might have been left-hand thread. Okay, so our rod is beginning to separate, which is not a good thing right now, because I don't want all these needles to fall everywhere. Remember, there's needles in the small end of this crank too, so we got to be very careful here. Oh crud. Okay. As you can see, there's not a lot of wear on this either. The crank journal looks absolutely flawless. I'm so happy with that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to attempt to do, since I have all the rods marked, is attempt to remove the piston pin. Oh, this is going to be a tricky one. There's a little tiny baby pin spring clip here. It's not that tiny, but there we go. And now we flip this guy over. This thing is not going to cooperate, is it? May have to take the other one out. There we go. And I'm actually going to leave the rings on just kind of for reference purposes. Okay, so this method may be a little unorthodox, but a 7/16 socket fits perfectly in here. And we have a, oh, look at that. She's just sliding right out. Those pins, those clips are going to be fun to get in there, but the new kit comes with new clips. I believe it does anyway, but we'll keep these. Just in case. So we're driving the pin out. I kind of want to be careful that we're on something that when these rod needles fall out, we shall be able to we're not saving these pistons either. Go figure. Okay. There is our wrist pin. Be careful because that is a very highly tolerant machine surface. Be very gentle and let this spill the rod bearings everywhere. This is actually easier than I anticipated. So here's our piston, our number 1 piston. I'm just going to let the needles fall out. So there is a washer on either side. don't know if that matters which direction that goes, but there is all the needles. I don't think it matters too much which way these go. Alright, so you can see that a little worried about here. There's a bit of a step on this side, and there's not really on this side. I think that this guy has been machined to be perfectly cylindrical, and this isn't, but there's a bit of a give to that seal in there. Like, this does not feel like a wear groove at all. Anyway, like I said, the crank, the only real wear is from these whatever the hell they're called, reed cages. So we've got all of our needle bearings. That one's kind of stuck in there. So we got 25 in the big end, about 27 in the small end, and I believe we have 28. Yes, we do. In the center main bearing. Here are all of our little tiny baby connecting rods. It's kind of impossible to screw these up because there's also, not only is there marks in here, but there's this little bump cast into, or forged. These rods should be forged into there. I'm not really optimistic about that bore. It says in the manual that the sleeve cannot be replaced, but that manual was written 40-something years ago, so let's be honest. Our modern machining is a little better now. I gotta figure out what to put on here. I don't know specifically. These are parts for the Maserati because it decided to act up yesterday. Luckily for me, it was Easter weekend and it was Good Friday yesterday, and it acted up on holiday instead of on my wife's way to work. Just has a bad, it's either a bad boot in the spark plug or a bad coil boot. Those coils are terrible. They seem to die more frequently than they should, because this will be its third set of coils now. Anyway, so hoping this week we could take this block to the machine shop. I'm not going to spend forever cleaning this guy up. I got the door open because A, it's a beautiful day. I got the door open because A, it's an absolutely gorgeous day, and I need to remove the smell of fuel fumes from here. I also got to clear off the freezer so they can get stuff in the freezer. So yeah, that was the disassembly. I hope it wasn't too crappy with my phone videos. I'm hoping, so today is Saturday of Easter weekend. I'm hoping maybe Tuesday of next week to take this into the machine shop. I may have something coming up that will warrant me not to be at work in the morning, so that might be the day that I do it. I've called them up and they said that this was naked enough. Still got these little plastic nylon fittings in the side. Not really sure how I'm going to get those out. I feel pretty decent, so as long as they don't hot tank this block, it should be okay. We're going to have to do a little cleaning in here, but it's actually not too bad, all things considered. Cylinder number 3 actually looks really good, considering the fact that it had been hammered up pretty good. Anyway, I'm running out of memory card space, so I'm 6Speed Dakota. You can follow me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. 6Speed Dakota. Thank you for watching, everyone, and follow me on social media, and I'll keep you updated with what's going on.